Hey gang, in today's video, I want to take you through sort of the modern approach to cold outreach. And this has significantly changed. It's not as easy as it used to be to just kind of take a cold list and start, pounding out some emails and getting some responses. The technique that's going to work and be more effective for you has significantly changed. So I want to take you through my five-step approach to modern cold outreach in the context, of course, in B2B marketing and sales operations. We're actually not going to start with the cold email outreach. We're going to start on LinkedIn. So the first thing that you want to do is sort of, and you're going to see there's a couple stages of warming up your accounts so that when you do reach out to someone, that what they see is going to be appealing, and it's going to position you as an expert and a professional in whatever that product or service is, and the industry, of course, that you serve. So number one, activate your LinkedIn account. So what that means is to just become an active user on LinkedIn. That means posting on your own profile, and then of course participating with those in your LinkedIn feed. So there's a couple of things that you'll need to do in order to start doing that. If you haven't really used LinkedIn other than to sort of post your resume, so to speak, then you're probably going to have to do some groundwork here in order to get a little bit of momentum such that when you do this outreach, that your profile will look compelling, and hopefully those people will have already seen you a little bit and will have built a positive perspective of who you are when you do that cold outreach. So there's four components to activating your LinkedIn account. One, you want to start following and commenting thoughtfully on influencer posts. So that's going to take a little bit of work. You need to look into your feed. You need to look around your industry. You need to think of people that you think of influencers in your space, and you want to start following them. And you want to start commenting underneath their post. And this is going to do a couple different things. One, all of their audience is going to see your thoughtful comments, and it's also going to help you sort of practice to get your voice and tone right, and to also kind of understand what's sort of appropriate within, like any social media channel. There's going to be sort of the appropriate approaches and comments and the way to interact and behave, and some things that don't really fit on that social platform. So this is all going to help you to start to sort of get your footing inside of the LinkedIn platform. And then, of course, you want to create your own post. So, and this can also be something that comes out of watching what others are doing. You're going to see some interesting concepts. You're probably going to do some comments that easily could be pulled out and made to be your own instead of standalone post. And these posts are going to add value to your followers, but it's also going to start attracting people into following you because they want to see that next post, that next insight that you're publishing. And this can be a combination of post. You could actually do articles, which are kind of like a newsletter concept. And the other thing that's super effective right now is video. And LinkedIn is already, I think it's out of beta now, but it's got its own sort of standalone video approach, right? You can literally sort of flip through videos the way that you can do Reels or YouTube Shorts or TikTok. So LinkedIn has definitely embraced video and given it its sort of own place within that LinkedIn feed. And then, of course, if you've sort of got the strength and courage to do that, you will definitely stand out because most people are not willing to put themselves out there in that way. So if you are willing to do video, you're going to have a huge leg up in building out your personal brand and profile, which is ultimately what you're trying to do in order to make your cold outreach that much more effective. Mixing up that media, like I said there, video in particular, but mix it up. One of the things I like to do is do little summaries on note cards, and then I take a picture of it. So it makes it a little bit, it stands out in the feed as something different. It's a picture instead of just a straight post, but mixing these things up, doing some images, maybe some carousels, doing the actual text post, as well as the video, and using tools that you're already familiar with, right? You don't have to be a designer in order to do some of these image posts. You can just simply put together a PowerPoint presentation. If you post it as a PDF, it will build one of those carousels for you. So play around with that, mix it up, make your feed and your content interesting and to stand out in the crowd, just not always text. And then, of course, by doing these things, you're going to quickly and organically gather followers. And if you keep your content in alignment with your products and the services that you're selling and the expertise, the solutions that you provide, those people that you're attracting will naturally be your ICPs. All right, so now you've got your LinkedIn account looking active and looking like you're providing some valuable insights. So there's a value proposition just to following you, and people can see very quickly that you're an expert by taking a look at your profile. Now the next step is to find those people that you want to go after. So to define and find within LinkedIn your ICPs, your ideal customer profile. So we want to get our Sales Navigator account. So if you don't have one of these, if you're in sales and marketing, it's just a must have. It's a little bit expensive. I think it's like $75 a month, but it is essential to cold outreach. So the first thing you want to do is sort of bypass, I think, what kind of is typically where people focus on accounts and leads and that sort of thing. I want to go straight to the search box and saved search. And what I'm doing there is once you sort of do your initial search, you're going to get all of this stuff on the left-hand side that's going to allow you to build that perfect ideal customer profile query. And so it's kind of like if you've ever done sort of database queries or whatever, it makes it really easy to select different parameters in order to filter out what will become your ICP feed on the right. So as you manipulate these parameters, it's going to start filtering this on this side. And what you're trying to achieve there is as you look at that filtering and you look at that feed, you want to get to a point where that feed is somewhere between 80 to 90% definitely your ICP. So what does that mean? That means as you look at those people and the things that are going to come up, obviously, of course, their profile picture, but more importantly, it's going to be their role and it's going to be their headline and maybe a couple of pieces about their company. It's just a little bit of it's almost like a search snippet in Google. You're going to look through each one of those. And if you just look through that limited information, you say, yeah, I think she might buy from me, or yeah, he's definitely the type of person that I need to talk to. That's the role that has this problem. As you go down through there, if most of those people, you can say, yeah, I would love to talk to that person because I think I have a solution for them, then that means you've dialed in this search. And once you've dialed in that search, you want to save it. Now, there's a couple interesting things about this list. This ultimately is going to be your outreach list, right? You don't need to have all these fancy cold lists or buy data from anybody. You start with LinkedIn. Then there's going to be a couple things that I want to do with that. And that is a dynamic list. So as roles change or things either come into that filter or people move out of that filter, that will be a dynamic list. So you want to routinely make a habit of going into that list and seeing those folks and potentially pulling people out to your active campaign list. And what you're going to do in order to build that campaign list is you're going to take that Sales Navigator list and you're going to turn it into a spreadsheet. So as I go down through there, and again, I like to do this manually at first. You can certainly scale this later with a virtual assistant, which is how I do it now. But it's good to kind of manually do this at first because it's really going to give you a feel on whether or not you've honed in on the right ICP. And if you're making contact and having good results with the process that you're building here. So once I have that list, every few days, I'm going to try to pull out, depending on your time, 10 to 20 of those a day. And simply all I'm doing is copying and pasting into a spreadsheet their name, their role, their company. Now, the last piece of information I need to run this campaign is their email. And so in order to do that, I'm going to either get Rocket Reach, which is what I personally use, or Apollo. You can get links to these and all of the tech stack and tools that I use down in the description of this video. But I use Rocket Reach. Apollo is really good. The only reason that I use one over the other is it does seem like they have slightly different industries represented. So a lot of my ICPs are better represented in Rocket Reach than Apollo, but you can play around with them. They're both excellent tools, great databases. Once you put that little extension into your browser, when you pull up their profile in LinkedIn, you just simply click on that button and they will reveal to you a couple of emails, and they'll also give you probability as to which one's kind of the most obvious. And it usually pops right out the difference between a business and a personal email. I always grab the business email. I'm going to stick that into my spreadsheet. And so that's going to become my spreadsheet. So now I have everything that I need to start to begin my actual cold outreach campaign, right? I've become active on LinkedIn. So when they look at me, which they will, the first thing they're going to do is going to search you on LinkedIn. If you look like a fake profile or an inactive profile, people's sniff test is going to think that you're spam, right? So you want that to be active, you want it to be valuable. So you have that built out. Now we have this list in Sales Navigator, which is how we're building and refining our outreach list. And so we make sure that we save that search. And then we pulled out our spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is actually going to be what we use for the email portion of this campaign. Okay, we have one more step before we actually start launching some campaigns. And that is to get a tool like Instantly.ai that allows you to warm up and use multiple domains, not your own, right? Not your primary. So, for instance, if I were to do outbound campaigns with BillWrightStrategy.com, that's my primary domain, it's my email, it's my website. This process is going to do a little bit of damage to that domain. So I don't want to use my primary domain. I don't want to use the domain that I'm working with customers. I want to make sure all of that stays intact, has a good reputation, and has good deliverability so that I can interact with my customers. What I'm going to do instead for this particular type of activity is I'm going to register some additional domains, and Instantly.ai will help you do that, or you can do it in something like GoDaddy, and you're getting something that's close but still a .com. I'm not a big fan of .ios and .cos. I feel like that's most often associated with a little more spammy sort of activity, and we're trying to do a value-based strong activity. But again, we do want to use alternative domains because regardless, the best that you can try. Some people are going to be frustrated with this, but in all actuality, if you have a solution, you need to reach out and make people aware, particularly if you're a small company. It's really hard for you to do the branding activities, right? So this is essential. So what do? We're going to get a domain like trybillwrightstrategy.com or getbillwrightstrategy.com or some sort of variation, put like a really small sort of intuitive phrase up there. The domain should be very close, but not exact. And then of course it should always be a .com. So you're going to register 2 to 3 of these domains. You're going to integrate them into Instantly.ai, and Instantly.ai is going to help you to warm up those domains. And it's got a system and a process for it. Their training material will lead you through there a lot quicker than me sitting here and explaining to you. So once you've warmed those domains up over a few weeks, then you're ready to build your campaigns and put them in there. So now we're ready to run the outreach campaign. So this is step number 5. And so we're really going to be building and running 2 simultaneous campaigns. One is a LinkedIn connection campaign. So you're going to build 5 different messages. They should build. I always talk about building sequences as sort of building a value-based story. You want each of these messages to build on each other and add value at each level. And they shouldn't be 5 sort of standalone, unrelated emails. So start with the value proposition, why you want to connect, be transparent, be honest, be authentic, especially in LinkedIn, because you're going to reach out for that first connection. People know that LinkedIn is a commercial platform, right? And so when you connect to them or you ask for a connection, they're pretty, they know that you're at some point going to ask them for something, right? And so you should go ahead and sort of move past that right off the front and just tell them, hey, this is what I do. I notice you're this type of person. I help clients up front. I would love to connect, right? And then from there, that's going to give you a connection, or maybe it's not. It doesn't really matter. We are trying to build a follower base and we're trying to build a connection. Most of our scheduled appointments, which is the ultimate goal of cold outreach, probably won't come through LinkedIn, but we're trying to build that familiarity and we're trying to build that multi-channel approach. So the first campaign that we're going to run is a LinkedIn connection request. And the whole objective of that is just to connect with as many people that are ICPs as possible. And then, of course, they'll start to see all of your activity on LinkedIn. And potentially, a lot of those you will get into a good conversation and discussion, and that could yield the appointment that you're looking for. Simultaneously, to the same group, I'm going to start running my cold outreach campaign. And again, I'm going to use a 5 message strategy that is going to be a building story that's going to build that value proposition and sort of hopefully entice them to want to continue to read and receive the next emails because you're delivering some value, or get to a point, hopefully sooner than the end of that 5 email story, be sort of so interested and compelled that they actually go ahead and book an appointment so that they can get the full discovery session in time with you. And then from those, whether it's LinkedIn or email, all of this activity should position you as an expert. So that discovery session, that demo, is going to be so much easier for you, because I can guarantee you they've taken a look at LinkedIn, they've gone down the rabbit trail, they've looked at a bunch of your posts, some of your content, and all of those pieces, all of those impressions have kind of come together in order to get that appointment. So when they show up on the call, you're going to be in a power position as an expert. Like I said, each of those campaigns should be anywhere from 3 to 5 different messages. And the ultimate goal is to schedule that appointment and to have enough content, enough of a story built with them, and enough familiarity based on what you've done on LinkedIn as well as the email, that is going to be a really strong discovery session with you in a power position as the expert. So give it a try. It's really not that hard. Just it takes a little bit of activity every single day, and it will be so much more effective than just taking a cold list and blasting a bunch of emails at them. I hope you enjoy this. If you've got a technique or you've got any feedback to the technique that I'm using, I would love to start a discussion with you in the comments. Tell me some things that have worked for you. Tell me things that haven't, maybe problems that you've run into, challenges that you've had, or successes and wins that you've had with cold outreach. Again, I'd love to start a discussion down in the comments with you all. If you enjoyed this up until this point, I would love you to do me the favor of liking and subscribing. And that will help us build a small channel and grow and get bigger and help more people. Also encourage you to go down in the description. I have a lot of different resources down there. The tech stack I use, some of the techniques, some of the analog systems that I use, and all the types of things that potentially would be interesting to you. And again, anything that you click on down there does have an affiliate link. And so all of that goes back to helping to build out this channel. So love to see you on the next video. Hope this helped. Let me know how it works out for you in the comments.